The coastal route is one of the three routes of the Portuguese Camino de Santiago. It starts in Porto and continues along the Atlantic coast of Portugal and Spain to Santiago de Compostela. The pilgrimage route stretches for 274 kilometers or 170 miles, connecting the cathedral in Porto, Portugal, with the cathedral in Santiago de Compostela, Spain. The route offers the great combination of the coastal scenery, historical towns, and beautiful forests. It is a great route to walk as the first Camino de Santiago. It has good infrastructure for pilgrims, plenty of albergues and hotels. It is well marked, you don't need GPS or maps to find the way, and you can meet plenty of pilgrims on the walk. The coastal route can be divided into three parts. The first part, from Porto to Caminha, is the Portuguese part of the coastal route. The second part, from Aguarda to Redondela, it's the Spanish part of the coastal route. And the last part, from Redondela to Santiago de Compostela. The third part of the coastal route is on inland route, on the central route of the Portuguese Camino. The coastal route merges with the central route in Redondela, and from there is only one Portuguese Camino route, except for an optional route which is called the Variante Espiritual, or the spiritual variant route that goes from Pontevedra to Padrón. The coastal route goes through some beautiful historical towns in Portugal and Spain. The biggest towns on the route are Vila do Conde, Esposende, Viana do Castelo, Bayona and Vigo. Esposende and Bayona are my favorite towns on the coastal route. If you're looking for a place to spend an extra night, then I would highly recommend these two towns. Despite the name coastal, only 30% of the route is by the sea. 70% of it is inland through the towns and forests and fields, and often you can see the coast, the sea from far away, but it doesn't always go next to the sea and past the beaches. I would call the coastal route is something in between the central route, which goes 100% inland, and the literal way of the Portuguese Camino, which is 80% along the coast. If you want to walk mostly along the coast on the Portuguese Camino, I recommend choosing the literal way. I will make a separate video on the literal way later. The coastal route is rapidly gaining popularity. If 5 years ago only 25% of the pilgrims who walked the Portuguese Camino chose the coastal route, last year about 45% of the pilgrims who walked the Portuguese route walked along the coast. The best time to walk the coastal route is between May and October. This months you get the best weather. Just remember that July and August is the peak holiday season. If you walk the coastal route during these months, it might be better to book accommodation in advance. In the Portuguese part of the coastal route, you walk a lot on cobblestones, which tend to make your feet more tired, and I usually get more blisters if I walk on cobblestones for a long time. So it is important to have right foot wearing for that surface. In Spain, you almost never walk on cobblestones, maybe in historical parts of some towns and the cities, but it is a really few kilometers. I strongly recommend when walking the coastal route, especially in Portugal, always have some cash with you, because many small places, cafes and grocery stores, they don't accept cards. I've had myself a couple of times a situation when I wanted to buy something to eat or just to drink and I didn't have cash, so I couldn't pay for food. Most people walk the coastal route carrying their backpacks, while some people choose to walk with a day pack and send the big backpacks or suitcases with a luggage transfer service. It works on a daily basis, so you can leave your luggage at the reception of your hostel or hotel. They pick it up, they drive it to your next accommodation place. By the time you arrive at your hotel, your luggage is already there. The two important things, in my opinion, that you need to walk the Camino de Santiago is a pair of good shoes and a credential or pilgrim's passport if you want to stay in public albergues and if you want to get the Compostela certificate for walking the Camino at the end of the route in Santiago de Compostela. A pilgrim's passport can be purchased at the cathedral. It costs €2 and you can buy it inside the cathedral at the kiosk. In order to get the Compostela certificate, you will need your credential with stamps. You collect stamps along the route. Most, or not, if not all, albergues, many hotels, restaurants, and bars on the coastal route have a stamp. So every time you stop somewhere or stay somewhere, you can put a stamp and a date in your credential. I'd like to discuss a little bit more the first stage of the coastal route from Porto to Vila do Conde. The actual coastal route, the first stage on the actual coastal route is completely inland, and it goes through, well, the historical part of Porto and later on through some industrial areas and past the airport. So it is not the most pleasant stage of the coastal route. For that reason, most pilgrims, they prefer to walk out of Porto following the literal way. So they walk from Sé Cathedral to Vila do Conde on the literal way. It is a very easy route to follow. First, you walk along the Douro River and then along the coast all the way to Vila do Conde. And to conclude this video about the coastal route, I'd like to say that walking the coastal route of the Portuguese Camino is a fantastic experience. Anybody can walk it. You don't have to be an experienced hiker or be a very fit person. So if you don't want or can't walk the standard stages, you can always adjust them and make them shorter. There are plenty of places to stay in between, so you will always be able to find accommodation. So there are hundreds of people walking the route. Don't be scared or worried if you're walking it alone. You will always be able to find friends or people to share your experience with. And in general, local people who live along the route and the pilgrims on the Camino are usually very kind and helpful. So don't worry, don't be scared. Everything will be fine. And like pilgrims say, the Camino provides. If you're looking for more information on the coastal route, well, I can recommend you our blog. We have a detailed post on the coastal route of the Portuguese Camino. There is a link right there on the right top corner. So there you can find free downloadable PDF files with walking stages, with places to stay along route, GPX files, and a lot of details on the route in general.